Well, welcome and thanks for tuning in on this 4th of July weekend to the Jim Brown Common Sense Show. We're glad to have you with us, and I want to welcome several new stations who are joining our network. Down in New Orleans, down where I live in the Deep South, KAGY, it's 1510 AM in New Orleans. Our flagship in Baton Rouge, WJBO, one of the largest stations in the entire South, 1150 AM. And up in New York City, a new station's come on, WVNJ. That's in Teaneck, New Jersey. New York City covers a huge area up there in the metropolitan New York market and most of northern New Jersey. Sure glad to have you folks listening to us. Hope you will each week as we try to bring some common sense to what's going on in the news. By the way, on the 4th of July weekend, this is to celebrate freedom, our independence, the fact that we broke free and that we expected freedom, and something that is in danger in this country today, both by Democrats and Republicans. If you go over the last 10 years, we've given up a great deal of freedoms, supposedly in the name of security. And as several commentators have mentioned, as I've written about before, I wrote about it this week on my website in a column that, you know, if you don't have freedom, then security doesn't mean a heck of a lot. You can be secure, but if you're not free, that's not what the democratic foundation of this country is all about. So acknowledge that over this special weekend. Enjoy your hot dogs and your barbecue. If you go to the beach, whatever you happen to do, hope you and your family have a pleasant time. But don't forget, we are celebrating the right to be free. Free from foreign oppressors and certainly freedom from our own government in terms of being oppressive on the basic freedoms in which this country was founded. The other thing that concerns me I wanted to mention was some of the talk about religion and politics. We've got two Mormons running for president, both pretty qualified fellows. Mitt Romney, the former governor of Massachusetts, who was a strong candidate 4 years ago. He's leading the pack. Jon Huntsman, former governor of Utah. Both are Mormons. Both are openly saying that they're Mormons, but that their Mormonism has nothing to do with how they're going to govern. New Gallup poll came out last week showing that 20% of registered voters, both Democrat and Republican, would be very susceptible to not voting for a Mormon, even though they thought the candidate was qualified. And that concerns me. I hope it concerns you. The religious issue should be about our nation, not the candidates, and I thought the religious issue was passed. John Kennedy addressed this issue very succinctly when he ran for president back in 1960. He addressed a large group of ministers down in Houston, Texas, and the Houston Ministerial Alliance, and he made it very clear that he said, look, I'm not going to be a Catholic president. I'm going to be president who happens to be Catholic. And I thought we put that issue behind us. Kennedy addressed this in a number of ways. It came up a good bit, as the Mormon issue is going to come up here again now. And so he explained in 1960, for while this year it may be a Catholic against who the finger of suspicion is pointed, in other years it's been and may someday be again a Jew or a Quaker or a Unitarian or a Baptist. And the other category to add, of course, this time, Mr. President, would be a Mormon. Mormonism is a faith that is Christian ties. It has some differences, but no different than our openness in looking at a Jew or any other race. It should not be a factor in a presidential election. And so I hope that we use some common sense as we look at that issue and look at the candidates. What are they qualified to do? Look, we've got a lot of problems in this country today. We've got an economy in the tank. We're in 3 wars, and we're so overextended in terms of money. We drop way below in terms of educational standards. We've got things to be focused on, and that should be the qualifications of these men and women who are running for president this time around. Good group running, but their religion, in my opinion, should not be a factor. Hey, a lot more with us. Stay tuned, and by the way, our toll-free number, if you want to call in and chime in on my opinion or anything we've talked about today, the number is 866-582-9933, right here on the Genesis Communications Network. Jim Brown's Common Sense, and we'll be right back.